Hello guys, Karina for theScore eSports here, and I'm standing with Rekkles from Fnatic. 1-1 against Schalke today, so let's begin with that. What went wrong in that one game?
Well, I think what went wrong was actually quite clear for us after the game when we spoke together with our coaching staff. I think generally speaking, the comps that we were running and the comps that the enemy team was running was not something we practiced throughout the week, so we weren't quite sure how to close it out properly, because I think something we did wrong was to force objective 5v5. But the enemy team was running a double TP comp, and for them fighting 5v5 with the flank was pretty much the optimal scenario. And we did have pressure on 3 lanes, so I think just continuing that pressure and actually just doing objectives off of picks rather than just doing it off of the wave pressure would have been much better. But I think that's just something we realized after the game, and we used it towards our advantage in game 2 and managed to close it out much better.
Yesterday, the games against H2K were both in your favor. Tell me a little bit. I mean, everyone has seen that H2K are like in the slump right now. How did it feel playing against them? And of course, everyone's speaking about Freeze not really performing. Maybe you can talk a little bit about it.
Well, I think first off, for myself, yesterday I didn't have my best games. At the same time, I think it was very new, to have a new player in the team and the communication system changes, and I guess the priority or the things you're used to doing inside the game, it all changes just with one roster swap. And I think it showed a little bit from my side in yesterday's games, because I didn't really contribute in the same fashion as I would like to. But at the same time, I think everyone else stepped up big time, and as you said yourself, H2K has been in a slump lately. I don't think it's necessarily all about Freeze, though, but at the same time, I wouldn't either consider him like a top-tier AD carry right now. I think there is at least 3, 4, 5 maybe that's better than him, and it's quite a shame, because I know that he had a lot of hype going into the split, and I know this was kind of like his chance to actually prove his worth as a player, because in the previous teams he's played for, he hasn't really been like a top contender, and I don't really have like any hard feelings with the guy, so I think it's really a shame to see him not being able to pull through perhaps the way people expect him to.
You touched about the roster changes, so we saw Kikis perform with you guys this week on stage. Yesterday the games were crazy. He was killing people left and right. Tell me a little bit, as much as you can say, about the decision to bring him in.
Well, I'm not actually sure how much I can say, but I will just do it anyways. So how I saw it, at least from my perspective, was that Gamsu didn't really have the same drive as everyone else in the team. And with how the game has developed over the years and how important it is nowadays that everyone's contributing in a similar fashion in comparison to how it was back in the day, when someone could just pretty much pull the weight of multiple people. It's not really working if everyone's not on the same page, and I think that's something everyone really felt with Gamsu. And getting someone like Kikis, who's very hungry to prove his worth after the G2 things that happened before in the split, and generally speaking, he's a very communicative person, and that's something I don't think Gamsu brought either. It just made it feel more, I don't know, yeah, I guess, yeah, just that we were on the same page as a team, and I think that's really important if you want to reach like the highest grounds and potentially beat those who already are up there, such as G2 and even Splice are looking really strong now as a team.
So now, do you think that Fnatic is going to be playing a little bit more around top? Because Kikis, does he actually require resources or not really? What do you think?
I think first of all, people like requiring resources is almost more of a meme than an actual reality. But I do believe like in certain scenarios you should be demanding resources, and it really all just comes down to your matchup and your game plan and pretty much how things just go in general inside the game. And I think something that Gamsu weren't able to do was to see these situations and communicate them beforehand and make plans around them. Meanwhile, I think Kikis is actually like excelling at this, and he's constantly solo-killing the enemy top laner. And I don't want to like talk down on Gamsu. I think he was like the nicest guy ever, and he brought a very solid performance off of the top lane, and he never ever asked for anything. So I don't want to talk down at him at all, but I do believe that Kikis brings a lot more productiveness into the team, and I think that's something we're lacking already. So having that side of things from the top lane is definitely going to make our games more open, I guess, that we're able to play it pretty much towards any lane, depending on the matchups. And I guess, yeah, in the long run, that's just going to make us a better team.
Well, and another question. Everyone knew that Gamsu and Spirit were like a duo pack. They came in together, and we saw also that Spirit was not in the greatest moods. Probably he's upset. He tweeted that he was upset. Do you think that you guys can cheer him up, that those like good games can bring the smile back on his face?
I'm not super close to Spirit, so it's hard to say like what points I should push to make him more happy. I think he's much more close with Fabian aside of Gamsu. So now with Gamsu gone, I could definitely see that during the first days that he was not the same person, but I think it kind of got better with time, and these days I don't really feel a difference to the Spirit I knew a week ago. So I guess it was just quite natural for him to be sad during the first moments after you lose a close friend of yours. At the same time, he, including everyone else as well, agreed to the decision to bring in another top laner. So it wasn't like a shock to anyone. Everyone got the question asked from the management, and everyone, I guess, gave similar answer back since it went through. So yeah, I think it was just natural for him to not feel 110% during the first days, but I can totally understand that.
This week was also shorter in terms of preparation and everything, and for you guys, a lot of new stuff. What do you think is going to happen in the next week? Tell me a little bit about your opponents, and do you think you can go like for 0?
Well, on the Thursday, we're playing Splice, and they've been looking really strong lately. And even though we went 3-1 this week, I still think we have a bunch of stuff to work on now with Kikis coming in. It's, as I said before, a lot of things changing just off one roster swap. So it's going to be interesting to see how much we can improve from where we are today to next Thursday, and if we're able to give Splice a run for their money, because I think looking at their games like during this week, they looked pretty strong and they seemed to know exactly what they were doing when they were making plays around the map. So that game for sure is going to be interesting, but I don't think we'll be changing like any training routines or anything. We'll just keep working hard, and for me, at least, the most important thing is that you just speak to each other and you're open about perhaps not always being perfect and making mistakes. And then I think in the long run, regardless of the series against Splice, we'll become much better and have a strong shot at winning the whole thing, moving into playoffs. And for the Origin series, it's quite hard to tell. I didn't really watch their games this week, and this is the only week they play with Toaster. So I'm definitely going to have to look back at a couple of those to see if they're a different team now or not. But since we're playing Splice first, I assume that our whole focus should be on them.
I think that you're a little bit underestimating yourself. You're always saying that we've got so much to improve, and everyone else says that Fnatic and G2 are the strongest guys here. So I really hope it goes well for you guys. Looking forward to see the games next week. Thank you very much for the interview. Thank you guys for watching. You can check out more interviews on theScore eSports website or download the mobile app.